Welcome to Club Doom, where, admittedly, I am not immune to propaganda. For most of my adolescent life, I was under the impression that ripoffs and bootlegs come from overseas. Indian Harry Potter, Chinese Gumball, Russian Felix the Cat where bro tear his face off, and my personal favorite, Top Fighter. Before Fortnite made everything a crossover, before Mugen, if you wanted a matchup like Goku versus Michael Jordan, you had to hit up Top Fighter. But as it turns out, the US is no better. And that's how we got Diesel.
Got him!
Diesel, Master of Dragons, is a comic made by one Guru EFX that was published by Antarctic Press in 1997. However, it only lasted one issue before its discontinuation, likely due to the fact that people noticed how it took heavy inspiration from Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, which for the uninitiated Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, or Jojo no Kimyo Boken, is a shonen/seinen manga from Japan that's been going since 1986. And it is huge in Japan. Like, we talking Pokemon and One Piece level big over there. And for good reason, as it introduced tons of concepts that would become highly influential in manga and anime for generations. Cause you could tell author Hirohiko Araki's just having all kinds of fun with it. From changing protagonists, to changing settings, to changing entire battle mechanics, universes even, over-the-top characters with over-the-top designs, making over-the-top expressions, and fight scenes that can only be best described as abstract.
I've replaced your shoelaces with fruit by the foot.
So you did. I replaced your fingers with fruit by the foot.
Bravo. I've replaced your bones with fruit by the foot.
Indeed you have. I replaced your guitar strings with fruit by the foot.
Seems like a step backwards, but alright. I've replaced your DNA with fruit by the foot. That would be end game, my friend.
Eventually, it would get popular in the US, but that wouldn't be until the 2012 anime adaptation, after which it would inevitably become one of those properties with a cringe fan base that nobody can stand. But up until 1997, it ain't really gained much traction. Most people had to go off of was the 1993 OVA of Part 3 Stardust Crusaders. Like hell, the Capcom fighting game based on the same part wouldn't even drop until a year after Diesel. Which brings us back to here. According to JojoWiki.com, Antarctic Press's office manager, Doug Glynn, confirmed that the author of Diesel, Joe Guru EFX Welchens, had taken inspiration from the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure OVA, the 1993 OVA, having received a fan-subtitled release. Welchens was impressed by the plot and wanted to introduce JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to an American audience, but had little faith in Antarctic Press's ability to obtain the official localization rights. Instead, Welchens decided to create an Americanized version of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure's story to be released in the US. So I guess it was a commendable effort, maybe, kinda. I mean, it fits his catalog. You could tell bro heavy into that anime art style, with works like Gold Digger and Ninja High School. Some real I didn't see you in class yesterday, thank you like shit. Other works include Absolute Zero, Warrior Nun Ariala, I think is how you pronounce it, Lady Death in Lingerie. Okay, yeah, let's just get into Diesel now. Our story begins in a mansion. Two men stand guard at the door when, choom, one of them dodges an incoming fist phasing through the wall. Oh wait, hold up. I mean, a fist punches through the wall, knocking out the guard. But it's hard to tell because it's drawn weird. The other guard also gets knocked out. In walks Thomas Diesel with his meta hammer, a manifestation of the human fighting spirit. In JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, this would be called a stand, but in Diesel, it's also a stand. They don't even try to come up with a different name. Yikes. Although, Meta Hammer ain't that bad of a design. As far as a Star Platinum knockoff is concerned, they could have done worse. Hey yo, this would be such a cool panel if it weren't for the fact that there should be no way these two are leaning against the wall after a hit like this. But anyway, Diesel is here to finally confront legally distinct Dio himself, Mr. Botha. But why, you may ask? Well, the comic immediately flashbacks to 3 months earlier, where Botha murks one Mr. Evans, so it may have something to do with that. Cut to Great Britain, I guess it's supposed to be within the same 3-month time period, I don't know. This 2 jump cuts in the same chapter thing is already making the comic disorienting. Thomas is dropping by someone's house unexpectedly. Again. Because you could say the same about the first few panels. But this time, it's more of a challenge, as Joseph here don't recognize him and threatens to use his stand to ward off the intruder. But then these two break up the fight. This is May Evans, the girl Thomas wanted to visit. And this is her stand, and it is just a ninja. It is just a ninja. It's just someone in a Halloween ninja outfit. Yeah, reading this, you'll come to notice these stand designs range from mildly okay, like masculine Killer Queen here, to just outright stupid. Anyway, May introduces Thomas to her fellow stand users. Alex Oliver, legally distinct Jet Li. I mean, we ripping off Jojo, so we might as well go all the way. And Tom's old friend Azizi. After their reunion, May informs Thomas that Mr. Evans has been... She believes it was the same Mr. Botha that Thomas's father as well. Well then, I guess it was convenient for you to drop by unexpectedly then. So now you both can go slide on Botha.
These nuts.
Next morning, we asking, what the dog doing? Chewie here leads them outside to Joseph, who is knocked out in a pool of blood. Except it wasn't his blood. It's an enemy stand!
It's an enemy stand.
And then poor Joseph gets... Turns out it's being controlled by legally distinct Endul. See, in the original, this guy is an Egyptian blind stand user who uses his super hearing to guide his stand, which is a lethal pool of fast-moving water along the desert sand to attack his opponents. But this comic is more edgy, and he uses his own blood while doing the same thing in a forest. The fight kinda plays out how it did in JoJo Part 3, not really. I mean, like, in the original, the battle concept was a lot more clear. Don't move or make noise while touching the ground. Otherwise, Endul will know exactly where you are in this wide open silent desert. But this isn't a forest where I would assume there would be tons of noise to distract bro here, so I don't know what we're doing. More of the cast gets injured as they attempt to flee. They manage to make it to May's car, and Tom asks Azizi to take them to a nearby hospital. Him and the dog will fight alone. And yet, spoiler warning, the dog get murked too. Which, I mean, always happens in JoJo. In fact, not having the dog die would probably be the one thing that would make it, like, super distinct from the source material. But Tom ends up directly behind the enemy stand user as he's distracted and delivers a devastating blow. Talk! I can't tell you. Then bro gets murked by another lady in a ninja suit, and someone who go by Chibot tells Tom that he passed the first test. And then that's the end. There was never a continuation. It ain't exactly like this took off. You could tell that blurb from the JoJo wiki holds true. Guru EFX definitely was starting his JoJo kick from part 3 with the OVA that I think starts around chapter 7. And you know what? I kind of like this aspect of Diesel. It takes me back to when I first saw Dragon Ball Z on Toonami mid-Android Saga. I was awestruck, like, who are these people? Why do they all have such cool powers? What is the lore of this world? And after getting some action figures and a mini pinball game for Christmas, I just filled in the blanks in my head as I watched. And it was fun. It gave a lot of room for my childlike imagination. Despite this, Diesel obviously didn't make it off the ground. Ah well, this bro's only real writing role. I think he's supposed to be an illustrator. So maybe bro and David Hutchinson can make it big with President Evil. Wasn't this a one-off gag in Billy and Mandy? I swear I've seen this before. Obama and Michelle hitting the Army of Darkness pose goes hard though. Diesel, #1, April 1997, is published by Antarctic Press. No similarity to any characters and or places is intended, and any similarities is purely coincidence.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now! Stop the cap!
No.
Must have been April 1st. It is funny given how Jojo's is notorious for its copyright issues, considering the weird naming conventions of its characters. Says the Lost Crusader in his own video. You should check that one out as well. With that in mind, what's your favorite localized Jojo name? I'm somewhere between Flaccid Pancake and Filthy Axe at a reasonable price. Let me know in the comments down below. And what do you think of Jojo's before Jojo's was even a thing here in the West? Do you think it was a admirable attempt, or do you think it was just a shameless cash grab? And are there any other American-based companies that have tried to pull off something similar? I'm thinking one, Sparkplug Entertainment, if I'm keeping it real. I'm thinking it, and it giving me flashbacks and nightmares of Igor. Don't leave, it's my fault. Anyway, this Club Doom signing out, and I'll catch y'all stand users next time. Sweet nectar.